Autel MK908Pro II. Let's see our initial impression. Also, I'm going to test to see how much time does it take for me to bring up the data list and get some live data going to evaluate temperatures, engine coolant, oil, gearbox. So this is the process. I don't have that much previous experience with this diagnostic tool. Thematic selection. And we are going to compare it later with other diagnostic tools that I'm using. What do I want to do? I want to go for control unit. Drive gearbox. Gearbox is the one that should have the information that I want. Electronic transmission management. Nice description. I want live data. All parameters. Let's see if I'm able to just search temperature. Okay. Transmission. Engine. No. We want to do a record. Got it. And can I see it as a graph? Okay, back to this. If I don't want to see this anymore. Show selected. Seems to be a little bit more advanced than X12, or it's strange in its own way. Merge graph. Let's also search for something else to add. Speed. Back. It's not winning. Or until you get used to it. These ones, and I also want. Let's also try vehicle speed. Driving speed. Show selected. I could refresh to that. We place it here on my side and let's start driving. One of the observations that I've done multiple times is the correlation between the engine temperature and the gearbox temperature. With the data that we are collecting now, we are also able to showcase this. Always the gearbox is falling behind the engine. And also we see the correlation between engine coolant temperature, engine oil temperature, and how these values, especially in the first 10 minutes of driving, are quite unpredictable, and there are some values that influence quite a lot the wear and tear in the engine. So your first 10 to 15 minutes should be minutes in which you're driving the engine at lower loads, being more careful with it, especially on higher mileage engines, to avoid damage due to incorrect lubrication, not having the right tolerances. What do you think about the new BMW i5 i7 key? It's working, or this key has been coded to a F10 generation 5 series. It is working quite nicely. It gives a new car feel to it. Maybe get in touch if you want one of these on your F generation vehicle. An interesting upgrade, a small little detail that makes quite a big difference in using the vehicle, same as the 6WB cluster or the Android units. Driving nicely every day. Everybody's happy and everybody's okay. Let's see what are the temperatures saying or doing. Transmission fluid 21, 51 for oil, 55 for coolant. If I'm looking at my gauge on top, no movement on that one. And we are a few minutes into the drive. Especially tricky is when you are using your heated seats. They are very deceiving. They will give you the feeling that the engine has warmed up and the vehicle is warmed up, but in reality your engine temperatures, your oil and coolant, and your gearbox are nowhere where they should be. So take this one in account also. Driving the diesel every day, everybody's happy and everything is okay. Hey, 14 minutes into the drive. But it's not really 14 minutes into the drive, it's 14 minutes since I started the recording. Now at 72, 75 and 31. If I just consider the size of the tablet and how it feels in the hand, it's quite manageable. The Pad 7 from Launch is quite huge, I wouldn't be able to do this. And this one is still giving me a clear field of view while driving. And it's integrating quite well in using it and having access to it. Also, it has a nice feel to the touch. Temperatures displayed by the gauge of the vehicle. Snow is falling all around me. People singing, having fun. Let's see where we are after 20 minutes of driving. We are at 82 degrees with 82 coolant, 88 oil, transmission temperature of 39. 20 minutes to reach these values. You can understand now better why the first period of driving a vehicle is quite bad for the engine itself, especially if you're doing shorter trips than 20 minutes. A big engine, a big diesel engine might not be the best option for you guys. Continuing the look at this tool, similar a little bit with the X tool. We have voltage, temperature. We have an easy way of searching through the values that we want to look at. We can see some of the values as graphs. Let me see if I'm able to see it as a min-max. I can see some information regarding it. I can see it as a gauge, as a value, as a bar. I can see it. I can see additional information regarding it, and I can set the trigger. Okay, let's give it a nice little automatic scan, a health report. To note that it doesn't have the topology map, you have it more in a classical format, which is kind of a good thing. The topology mapping doesn't really change your world. EGS, my instrument cluster doesn't really want to play ball. There has been some programming that I've done on it and I need to troubleshoot it. So besides these DTCs, we are running a healthy car. Escaped it. Let's see this. What this is. Whoa. I think that these guys are able to get information from multiple sources, and without me having to go in each ECU, I'm able to monitor it separately. This is something unique to Autel. I didn't see it in any other diagnostic tool. Save. I am impressed by this. Graph merge. Cancel merge. Back to this. So it sees it as a temporary group. What I cannot see is min-max. See it as a graph. Let's see it as full screen. The refresh is quite decent. Yeah, a difference, like a short observation. On the X tool, we're able to see min-max on the plotted area. This one doesn't show us min-max. So we have access to the selection of data inputs that we have. Quite an interesting function, quite an interesting thing to have. This was the Autel MK908Pro II. It's starting to grow on me. I think that with many of these tools you need to be mindful that if you're not familiar with that platform, in the beginning they will be awkward to use, so give them a bit of time.